7 books, right? You're about to come out with your 8th.
Yep.
You have done a multitude of TV shows, including improv, which I think is like the wildest, craziest thing. You have 13 restaurants.
Yes.
2 children.
2 children.
A lovely wife.
A happy wife.
What could you possibly want next? Is there any goal you haven't achieved?
Many.
Really?
I want my children to grow up and be geniuses and happy in whatever they do. That's an ongoing goal in life. Nothing is unachievable. But I think the idea that we're interested in now, our next project is actually a giant Italian grocery store called Italy, opening in the Toy Building next summer.
Right, so right on 23rd Street and in
23rd
Manhattan.
and Broadway and 5th Avenue, where they all across from the Shake Shack, is like we like to say
I see. And eventually would you like to have those across the country?
Well, I don't know if every city's ready for them, but maybe 4 or 5.
Wow, that's.
They're going to be big. It's like 60,000 square feet. There'll be 5 restaurants in each store. The vegetable counter will have a little 16-seat vegetable restaurant, vegetarian, vegan.
Wow, you're going there.
The fish restaurant will have like kind of an esca. It'll be interesting to see.
Chef, you've had so many amazing meals and so many opportunities to cook for people. Who were you the most nervous about cooking for in your lifetime? Out of all
In the early days, it was for Marco Pierre White because I was terrified of the guy.
As are many people.
Right.
He's a terrifying person.
Now he's an old friend of mine, and we actually hang out and enjoy each other's company. I would say the people I'm most nervous about when I cook for are other cooks. Famous people don't bother me. They don't make me nervous. Generally, they want to eat what I want to make. Other cooks are maybe a little more scrutinizing.
Yeah.
But I'm not even that worried about them. I'm very happy about them being in. We like to cook for each other.
What about the best meal? If you could say there was like, oh my God, the best meal, I just remember that, roast pork in Spain, or, is there
There's categories in geography.
Yeah.
I would say one of the best meals that I can remember in my whole life was at a place called the Flower Drum, which was a Cantonese restaurant in Melbourne.
Melbourne, Australia?
Melbourne, Australia. And they started with magnums of Krug from the early 60s, and then paired whole animals from the smallest, which I believe was a small abalone, up to an entire pig, with mags and double mags of spectacular French and Australian wine.
This is
in a Chinese restaurant. Yeah, it was unbelievable. But that said, I've had really great tacos at Taqueria San Jose No. 2 on 19th and Mission in San Francisco that rival its excellence. It's all about the day that you're at. It's the food that's being made right in front of you. It's something that captures that mood and that moment and that very freshness to it.
Right, it's about the context in which you've eaten it. So if there's one last food or meal that you would eat before your dying days, what do you think it would be?
It would be a meal that takes 1,000 days to eat. Because I would want to stretch it out, and I would have several courses every day with several wines, and I would be forced to take up with the old SST, what do they call that? The Concorde?
Oh, yeah.
And I would fly all over the world to have this meal.
Oh, my God.
To stay ahead of the sunset.
Boy, you've thought this out.
I have a little bit.
This is a good answer, I must say.